Doug Walsh with Dark Horse Stables here. I've got Misty here with me, and she's a super cool little girl. She came from a kill lot, had a lot of major things going on with her that we've been working through, and is just becoming an absolutely dream of a horse. And if you've watched her story, it's pretty cool. So we're talking about mounting today, and we've talked about this is kind of the transition of groundwork to getting under saddle. It's very important that our horses understand that when we walk up to a mounting block, we don't have to move the mounting block to wherever they're at, that they'll come to us. We can walk up the steps, they'll come around and they'll wait for us. It doesn't matter if it's a mounting block, if it's a fence, if it's a tire that's on the ground, a big tractor tire, a stump, whatever we need to get them to walk up to. We want them to be comfortable walking up to it and know how to square up to that. So the other important thing is that when we get on our horses, that we want to make sure that we give a break in between putting our right leg over the horse in the saddle and then putting the right leg in the stirrup, and then we give a break before we walk off. If we don't do that, our horse is going to learn just the way that they think. It's going to learn that they walk off when you put your left foot in the stirrup before you even throw your leg over. You probably see that a lot. And so we want to make sure we have a break in between the getting in the saddle, putting your right leg in the stirrup, and starting to walk forward. So that being said, I'm going to ask her to walk up. Now you notice I'm going to walk up the steps, so I want her to walk up here. And we've been working on this for a bit with her. I'm getting her real dialed in on it, so I want her to turn around, and I want her to move that hind under. And so see how her hind is still just a little bit this way? Now a lot of people go, that's fine for me, but my goal is to have her be a little bit more squared up. So I just want her to, and she's learning. What are you doing to me today? Huh? We've been teaching her, just so you know, we've been teaching her to move to pressure from the other side. So when you teach a horse something like that, then they think, when they're learning, they think, okay, I got to go off that other pressure. So that's why she's yielding into me like this. So I'm going to ask her. There we go. Good girl. Good girl. And this is why we show these videos, is because it's the learning process where people learn. So, and our horses learn. So see how she wants to come to me? She wants to come into me, so I'm going to ask her. Nope, please move. Please move off my inside leg, right? Good girl. So now she's gone a little bit the opposite way, right? So what I want to do is now I can ask from this side very lightly to move her hind back under. And she moves it over too far again. So what we're going to do is, and this is a perfect example of when you start to teach a horse to move their body, is sometimes when they do that, they'll take the correction too far. And so it's about learning to release that pressure when needed. So I'm going to ask her from right here. So she's like on top of the mounting block now. So I'll get off the mounting block. Good girl. And so now she's there. I'm going to step back up on the mounting block, and I'm going to ask her to move her hind over to me, but not too far to me. So now she's in a better position. So now I'm going to ask her to back up a step, and she's coming over. So she thinks that she needs to be on top of the mounting block. So I'll come off the mounting block, and I'm just going to show her that she can move over this way. Good. So if she wants to start there, that's fine. I'm going to come back on the mounting block, and I'm going to ask her hind end to move over, but not the front end, and not on top of me. So now she wants to move that front end over on me. So I'm going to move my flag on this side. Good girl. So we've taught her on the ground to use her body in different ways, and now that we're teaching her, because it's a hard thing to teach a horse to actually move their body from the other side with energy, because I'm on this side, I'm asking her to swing around this way. So then when I go back to this way, she's going to be like, oh, wait a second, I got to go into the pressure, because that's what horses naturally do. So I want to be able to, and this is a great example of it, as she learns this, is that because I don't want to always have to be up against something that's going to keep her in that channel where she can't go anywhere. So now she just moved out a little bit with that front end, but I want to be able to ask her if I need her to move over right now. Good, she can move over a little bit like that. Now she's getting the hang of it, right? So I don't want her to front end to go, so now I'll ask her to, can you just move the hind, good. And I'll stop right there. So now I've got a horse that, and if I work on this with her and ask her to be able to move out, move in, move out, she's going to understand exactly where my space is. She was, so I'm going to ask her to move out again. Because right now she's pressing into me, which was what almost knocked me off the mounting block. And that's just a learning curve for her. She's not trying to be bad or anything. So now she's really far away. Who would think, oh gosh, I can get my horse back from there to come back to the mounting block? So I'm just gonna think I want her back over here. And I'm gonna ask her now, she's getting a little close again. So I'm gonna ask her to move away. She's starting to push me off the mounting block again. So I'm gonna ask her to move away from that inside pressure. Good. So now she's back over there. And this is a great example of how we teach these horses, and everybody they like to see the finished product, but they don't want to spend the time sometimes to see how we got there. So she's going, wait a second, now I'm on this side. So I'm going to ask her to come back around here, because she's really trying. She's not trying to be bad. She's trying to do everything right. She just is sometimes crossing the line of like, what am I supposed to do? Like, she's like, I think this is right. So I'm going to ask her to come back over here. So I'm just going to ask the hind end to move over. Good. And you notice that I stopped applying any pressure towards that hind end before and she's still moving, right? So she's like, I still have to do the right thing. I'm like, no, that one step was fine. So she's coming back over again. So I'm going to ask her to move back out. I'll come back down and around. I'm trying not to leave the mounting block. I want to stay right here. So she's out there. I'm going to ask her to stop right there. And now I'm going to ask her, just come over. Good. That's all I need. Nope, no more. So when I take that energy off, that pressure off, she shouldn't want to move any closer to me. No different than lateral work. If you're asking for a horse to leg yield over, and you take that leg off, they shouldn't keep going. They should stop. You shouldn't have to catch them with the outside leg. So that's one of the things that, like, it's important to spend, like, even this little bit of stuff right here, it's very important to spend that time to get them to really understand that when you take the energy or the pressure off, that they stop moving in that direction. See, we have a nice big breath now. So I'm really happy about that. So now she's a little far forward now for what I would like to get on her, because the stirrup's way up there. So I'm just going to ask her to take one step backwards. And you see, if you can see in that video, I barely picked up the reins and she started to move backwards. So, you know, it's good to show these raw videos of when she's, you know, trying to understand not to move into pressure, away from pressure. As she's learning, she might go the opposite way. So all we can do is not get mad at her, because she's really trying. She's not trying to knock me off the mounting block. She's trying to do exactly what I'm asking her to do. For her, it's just the wires got crossed for a second there. So when we do this, we take as much time as we need to get this dialed in, because this is going to help and transform into so much more riding, especially with the groundwork we've done. Like, I wouldn't be able to move her over that way off of the outside with me being on her left, move her off of the right to the left and back to me, if I didn't work on these things on the ground with her. So I'm going to ask her just to come around again. So just want her to take a walk. I'm going to turn around on this mounting block, and my ultimate goal is to have her come right up here, and she's going to start to understand where she needs to be, and she's still learning that. So I'm going to ask her, nope, there we go, good girl. So the butt's in a little bit, so I'm going to ask her, can you move your hind out? And she says, wait a second, I'm so confused on this. I'm going to say, good. So I just tapped her just very lightly with the bottom of this, and now I'll say, so see how she's swinging, she's over dramatic. So see, I took the energy off right there. So you see where I took that energy off? She's still trying to figure it out. So when I take that energy off of her, I want her to know to just stop and stand still. So she's back at a good spot again. So I'm going to continue to work on this. I'm going to give this a 20-second break, because she's in a really good position right now. I'm happy with this. I could get on. And I want to make it really nice that when I get up here and she does exactly what I want, that I love all over her, so she knows that this is a good place to be, right? So now that we've had a little bit of time, I'm going to ask her to come back around again. I'm going to ask her just to come on around. Come on around. Does she know where she needs to go? Good. So that was much better that time. So you see how she's starting to really get this figured out and understand exactly where I want her to be. And I want to make sure that that wasn't a fluke, so we'll do that one more time. But you can see just in a short video how quickly she's understanding. We've spent probably an hour on this with her, teaching her some of these things. So some horses learn quicker than other horses, but it's really important to me to be able to go up on your mounting block, have your horse come to you, then you have to move the mounting block wherever the horse is, and then they want to move all around and do those things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask her to come back around again. And you see I'm sending her with my left hand just like I would on the ground. And now I'm like trying to line her up so she knows what I'm looking for, right? So the front's out a little bit, so I'm just gonna ask her if she can bring that front in and get straightened up a little bit. Good. So now she's really understanding exactly where I wanna be. So next video we're gonna show you is getting on her and doing some work with her to show you some more things that we can do under saddle when it comes to the fundamentals and the basics of riding for any discipline, in my opinion. Hope you have a great day. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Have a blessed day. Take care.